subscribe, support, stay positive. Hello, as always, I'm Tommy NC 2010. And here on Dateline, we have a special interview. Actually, no, this is the Tommy NC 2010 channel. And I want to interview a special person in my life. She may not be a celebrity, but she's a celebrity in my eyes. She's one of the best looking girls here in Asheville. And I know other good looking women also, but she attracts my attention and she makes me go sky high. Oh, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I give it a hand for Krystle.
Hello, hello.
Hello there, Krystle. How you doing there today?
Very good, Tommy.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions, Krystle, and I don't know how far we're gonna take this interview, but, okay, where was Krystle born?
Right here in Asheville, North Carolina.
Would you say that you are connected with your mom real well?
Yes.
Would you say you're connected with your father real well?
Oh, yes.
Even your brother?
Oh, yeah, we've always been around each other. Always and forever, we'll stay that way.
Are you currently dating somebody?
Yes.
What's his name?
Aaron Parker.
Aaron Parker? I understand you two have a lovely little girl named Evan.
Yes, we do.
She's a little ball of joy.
She is indeed.
Now, where does the roots of Krystle Short come from? Krystle come from exactly. The beginning of Krystle, where does that all start exactly?
Well, I was raised Southern Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
And spent about half of my time in Fairview, which is kind of out in the boonies.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a small place. It's a lot bigger now than it used to be. And I started out going to church a lot.
Yeah.
And that sort of changed as I got older.
Mm-hmm.
But I have always been artistically inclined, like to draw and paint. I don't do that as much as I used to. But, yeah, you know, I have pretty simple roots, nothing complicated. I came from a lower middle class family, and we got by well, and we didn't have a whole lot of extra, but I never went without, so.
Okay. Did you ever have any, in your past, did you ever have any bumpy times in your life that you felt like you just didn't know what was going to happen? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to share this with the audience at all? If you don't, I understand.
Oh, I don't mind. I'm an open book.
What troubles have you had in the past, exactly?
The two that come to mind first was sort of the process of losing my Christian faith. Not that I am an atheist, or I'm not an atheist.
Yeah.
But that was a particularly difficult struggle that lasted for years. Lots of questions, lots of doubts, lots of anger. But those wounds have healed. And then the second came about when I was about 20 and got introduced to alcohol. And that was quite the struggle, quite the journey. For about 4 years, I spent the majority of my time either drunk or hungover. But you know, in the midst of all of that, I was pretty isolated, became pretty isolated, and I was very unhappy. But you know, I think after most extreme struggles, you must look back and feel grateful. I feel very, very grateful that it's over and that I learned something. I learned a lot about myself and the nature of people, the nature of addiction, and it's over now. So, you know, like, great.
This process, how did you come to discover me?
Yes, I did. I met you in the midst of all of that at Montreat College in Black Mountain, and I was a dishwasher / cashier / lots of other stuff at the Howerton Dining Hall, and here enters Tommy Fenton from
Tommy,
you know, Tommy NC 2010 from Owen High School, and I definitely knew right off the bat that you were a big Batman fan. And you, the first memory that I have of you, you gave me this is it like an excerpt of dialogue from the Batman Dark Knight, which is the
Dark
one with
Knight?
yeah, the Dark Knight, that's right, the Joker.
Yeah.
And you just went on and on with this dialogue with the Joker, and I remember being pretty impressed at your impression of the Joker.
Yeah. Through that time, was there, I didn't know a lot about you. Was there any things that happened in between that when you met me? Was there anything going on in your life with that whole process when you met me?
Yes. I was kind of right in the middle of the worst part of my struggle with alcohol at the time. But apparently I kept it under wraps very well. I didn't realize at the time that
I didn't realize that you...
Nobody knew. I mean, I kind of thought that I was carrying around like everybody could see me right through me and know, like, oh, that girl, she's got problems, oh, she's got issues. But no, apparently I was always coming in with a smile on my face, and then nobody ever really knew about it.
Through the time I knew you, through my time at Monterey, which Krystle's, if I mind saying this, Krystle's, my midst of while I was working at Monterey College for my Owen High School, Krystle terminated her position at Monterey College lunchroom.
Mm-hmm,
and some stuff happened in her life that ultimately changed her, and ultimately Krystle disappeared from my life. And at any point did you ever just go nuts because your phone was getting blown up by me?
No, not at all. And you were not the only person who was trying repeatedly to contact me. I have to say I did apparently do a fantastic job of falling off the face of the planet. As a matter of fact, a longtime friend of mine who saw me again after years of not hearing from me from any source, Facebook, phone, email, actually said, we didn't know if you were alive or dead.
There was times that I would call you like 100 times and I'd just get your answering machine, and I had no idea if you were face in a ditch or something like that, because I really didn't know about your alcoholism. I'll be honest with the audience. I had a humongous crush on Krystle. At the time I was even trying to, because of this whole up and down thing with her and her boyfriend, I was trying to wedge myself in there to try to approach Krystle and be like, hey, I'm the way that I can help you. But,
That's nice.
Krystle is a wonderful asset as one of my friends, and she definitely puts a place in my heart. I have several people that I put in my heart, and she's one of the people that is in there. In that process, Krystle, when you were disappeared off the face of the earth, and every single time that you were just laying in bed and you saw your phone going off, what did you think?
I guess I didn't know what I was thinking then, but thinking back on those times now, I can kind of remember feeling like I wanted to answer the phone, but I couldn't. I don't know how to explain it, but that's part of the problem with, I did become very isolated, and through that, the loneliness paired with the emotional struggles plus alcohol, it made me feel very separated from everybody else.
Yeah. Now, at any point when you kept seeing my number calling you every single time, what went through your mind? exactly, and this other person, what exactly went through your mind when you kept seeing those particular people trying to call you? What were you saying to yourself?
I guess I felt, well, of course I felt sad. I felt disappointed in myself. And I felt a little bit like a coward, because I guess I thought, if I can't even muster up enough courage to talk to the people who I know love me, then what hope do I have? What chance do I have to recover and to make new friends or to have new experiences?
With this depression and the kind of like circling, not to be offensive or anything, but circling around the kind of the beer bottle and everything, whiskey bottle or something like that. Was there any points of like suicide or feelings like you thought that something might happen like that?
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question because I never sober thought realistically that I would kill myself. I did, you get really down in the dumps and sometimes you play with ideas that are negative because you feel negative,
Yeah.
but I'm not really going to do that. But there did become a point where I was afraid that one night I was going to get
Too drunk.
completely wasted like I usually did, and I was going to do something accidentally in a fit of rage or in a fit of just being completely out of my mind, and then do something that would, end in my death and not even really intend for it to have happened.
And through that whole process, I haven't heard a word from Krystle, and I had a bit of excitement in my life. Made it happen, and they were in the midst of shooting my episode, and all of a sudden, I'm having dinner with my cameraman, Andrew. My phone goes off, and I'm like, I recognize that ringtone. And I'm like, I looked at the name, and I'm like, I haven't heard from her in years. And I picked up the phone, and what was happening in your life at that time, Krystle? Because you went through a lot, and I rode the ride with you also because I like to think that with my female friends I help them out all the time, and I give them advice even though half of my relationships have exploded in my face.
Well, it's hard to give a relationship advice even when you've been in many, because every relationship is different, everybody's problems are different, and but that actually, I had broken up with Aaron for a while, who is my boyfriend now.
Yeah.
And the two of us were, we had these problems together.
Yeah.
So that only intensified them, but we had broken up temporarily, and I guess at the time I needed some freedom, some space. Because I was sort of acting as a dependent on alcohol and a codependent for an alcoholic at the same time, so it was sort of a double dose of pain. But that the split, our temporary 5-month split, gave me an opportunity to just sort of force myself almost to do other things. I wasn't comfortable anymore in a relationship, so I was forced to. Okay, so I moved from our place, and I got a new job, and then everything just sort of started falling into place.
What, a curious question, what made you come knocking on my door? I appreciate you did that. That was like the surprise, the first knocking on the door. What made you come to my door exactly?
Well, I don't really remember the very first time that you and I got in contact again after all of that time. Although I do recall the very first time we saw each other after that time, and that was when I came to your premiere at Owen.
I will say this, I just got done delivering, if you've seen the Maine episode, I just got done delivering an all-inspiring, showing my film, and I guess in my mindset I was looking for Ashley, and looking around for her to see what she thought about the film. And all of a sudden, this female approached me, and I was...
female?
Well, I hadn't seen you in forever, and I've only heard your voice on the phone.
I guess I was just a female then.
At that point, you were still in my heart, and I still was thinking about you, but I had forgotten about you for a second. Hamza surprised me with having this guest coming.
Came with Mia and Hamza to that. That's right.
Yeah,
and I saw you with all of these people. You know, you were definitely the highlight of the event. I mean, it was all for you, and so you have all these people gathered around you, and you're talking, and I come up and I poke you on the back, and you turn around, and I'm like, "Hi, Tommy," and immediately I can tell you don't know who I am, and you're like, "Hi," and I'm like, "It's me, Krystle," and then it was just, "Oh my gosh!" Big hug. This is Krystle. This is so and so. Krystle, this is so. And it was just like, it was pretty much exactly how I thought it would be after, you know, because there are a few people for me that I can go that long without speaking to or seeing that will still greet me the way that you did.
Yeah.
And that's a very awesome thing.
And you know, it's how long have we been friends now, Krystle?
Since 2008.
2008.
It's 5 years. Right?
If anybody can say mistake, I doubt this friendship is a mistake. I think this would be one of the best things that I ever did in my life, making friends with you, because Krystle has introduced me to so many people. For instance, one name I'm not going to speak about, but somebody that you know who you are, and if you watch this video, you know, the person that I'm talking about, I'm not going to say his name, has, I'm going to say that is a very respected person, and that now, funny thing was, you actually introduced me to this person, and we developed a good friendship, and I you know, because Krystle was talking to this person at the time and telling stuff about me back to him, and I developed a good friendship because of Krystle. She, I really made a good friend because he, you know.
Well, you're hard not to talk about, Tommy. If someone gets to know you, you just got to spread the word.
I like to think I like to think I'm a mixture of I think several actors. I like to say Jack Nicholson, The Rock, John Cena, and you know, just a mixture of different electrifying actors out there that are just all inspiring. But now here's the thing. I don't know how long we're gonna keep this thing going, but now if you want to, you could turn back and ask me questions, and I will answer openly.
Okay.
But you know, you can turn to the camera and say, "Now this is the segment where Krystle gets her team at the wheel."
I get to ask some questions. Oh, buddy, you're gonna be. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Well, I know almost everything about you, so let's see, what are good questions for people who don't know you. How is it living with your parents?
You can tell by my reaction. My parents, they're good people, and they're very good people, and that's what I'll say about them.
Okay. If you were to ask me about my parents, I would say the same thing. They're really good people. When you family living in the same house, it's inevitable that you're going to get on.
It's like putting your vice in the head. It's like cranking it.
Mom and Dad, you're killing me, but I love you. Thanks for everything. Well, so how do you feel about, how long have you been working at Ingalls now?
I've been working there since September 2006.
Well, that's a pretty good long.
I have been there since certain people have walked out of those doors, and I'm
sure.
I've been there through thick and thick. That's what she said. I can think many times I have bagged groceries, gotten buggies in, and
done the bag boy thing. I worked as a bag boy. That is the get buggies, bag groceries, sweep of mess, get buggies, grab bag groceries.
Especially when you have to concentrate on the buggies all the time. But you know, working at Ingalls, working at Ingles is a very good thing, and you can go to any Ingles market in North Carolina, and if you walk in.
Ingles Market, huh? Wow.
No, not every Ingles market, but the Ingles in Black Mountain, you'll see me smiling and everything. But it's.
So it's like a pretty good job. It's not the worst job. It's not the best job.
Yeah.
You're obviously happy enough to have stayed with it for this long, so that's good.
Well, I have to say, besides my YouTube career, it gives me a paycheck, and I can support myself a little bit, but it's insanity. It's fun.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, when did you decide to start wearing suits and ties?
That would be basically back in high school. I had walked into the first day of high school, and I was like, God, this place is gigantic, and
I gotta stand out.
Well, my freshman year, I kind of was like an ordinary guy, and I wore regular shirts and stuff like that. But towards my process, I was watching a movie over the summer, and I was seeing a guy in a suit, and he was getting a lot of respect. I said, that's what I'm going to start doing, because I used to wear suits during picture day, and so I decided, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my own look. And there was this other kid, he was kind of a heavy dude. I think his name was Matthew, and he was a heavy guy, cool guy, magician. And I kind of was inspired from him to wear suits, and people always say I stole his look, but I never stole his look, because I had my own look, and I did my own thing. But one of the difficulties is, I'll come out and say this, for all my life I have been in special ed classes. I went to a special ed school, and that process is not the most easiest for me.
Certainly not.
And if you have any questions about that, you can dig into them, and I'll throw answers at you as much as I can about that.
Well, I know because you told me that was a very rough in high school. I mean, there's nothing worse than high school when you feel like you don't fit in or you don't fit in, because teenagers are about as cruel as they get as it comes.
Yes, they're tormenting, and they have no
remorse at times.
No, the kids have found themselves at the ends of. Myself personally, I dealt with it. I just went by with a smile, and I honestly just dragged my. One time there was actually a situation where a kid went crazy, and he said he was going to bring a gun to school and start shooting people. And apparently what happened was he was walking to our school, and he was passing the middle school, and the cop stopped him. He had 2 pistols in his backpack, getting ready to come into our. He wasn't near our school at the time, but he was getting close. It was his father. His father was a cop, and he apparently took his father's guns, loaded them up, and was going to walk to the high school and start unloading on people. And lucky we have good security.
Was he bullied?
Well, some people thought he was a little bit insane, but we don't know if there was bullying involved. But all in high school, all around, it's a good school. They taught me well, and one of my favorite people there is Mr. Nyhart, and he helped me out with a lot of my. I was acclimated to the stage as anybody else could, because I got in drama club, and down in middle school wasn't much. It was something, and he jumped up on stage. I was visiting the high school, and he jumped up stage, and I said, "Who is that?" Because I always thought a woman was teaching the class. I was looking for the female, and all of a sudden he hops up on stage, and I'm like, "Well, who's that?" And I guess he must be the teacher or something like that. And from there, I made good friends with him.
Excellent. Your theater teacher ended up being your favorite teacher.
Yeah, I have another one. I don't want to say his name because he's I'm just gonna say Teacher M. He was another inspiring figure in my life because he taught me all sorts of things, and he's a good guy. And after that, I was kind of almost held back for some stuff. And then the middle school just said, let's release Tommy and let him go up to the high school, because there's And I did. I got a lot out of just basically going up to the high school and learning a bunch of stuff. And
you learn so much. I think high school almost teaches you more about people and socializing and, powering through problems than it does about, actual academics.
In middle school, one thing about them is their lunch program is basically you sit at one table, and that's where you sit for the rest of the year.
You have assigned seating at lunch?
They made you walk in lines, and they made you get food, and then you basically sit down where your class was going to sit. And one thing about my teacher M is that his wife is actually tutoring me now with my reading.
Oh, cool.
But he would actually take us back to his classroom, and we'd have lunch, and he'd talk with us and tell us stories about stuff. But it was an interesting experience, but, all good things had to come to an end, and I left the middle school and went up to the high school. And if you want to ask anything about my high school career, you can if you want. But,
well, I'm kind of out of questions. Do you have any more questions?
Well, okay. No, I'm not going to ask that question.
Of course, you don't have to ask any questions if you don't want to.
Would you say that I'm attractive?
I knew you could not hold it in. You're going to have to. On principle, I'm not answering that. That is a question of indulgence. And I'm not going to feed that.
The horniest arises.
I'm telling you, you guys, you men. I know so many guys who just, they love that throw that line out there. Come on, bite. No.
It reminds me of a kitty that's trying to get after a piece of rope, and then basically the big pit bull comes out.
In a lot of situations, yeah, that's very much the way it is.
But as always, thank you, folks. This is a counteractive interview. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but as always, I'm Tommy NC2010, and I'm keeping you on the inside fact. Now who's going to shut the camera off?
I volunteer.
Doodle doodle doodle.